Hey, top of the morning to everyone. Heading to work. Not on the bike today. Which isn't a bad thing. The last couple days have been quite nice, though, being able to ride, taking Pam to school for both days and, that whole thing, because those are the only two vehicles Pam and Eleanor, which Eleanor is still in the shop, just FYI. It means April 7th is going to be 2 months since she was dropped off, and I know. In the lines of many people, and especially being here where you're allowed to ride year round without much judgment. It's a bit on the unacceptable side of things, and I understand that, but I haven't started complaining about it. And I've had other things going on in my world that have really not given me any reason to ask why I don't have two motorcycles in my parking stall and I only have one. Here's the thing. I have an additional motorcycle, so I really can't complain too much about it. The only thing, though, is because it is a smaller bike, the wind hits me harder, so I don't feel like I can ride it as, every day like I normally do because of the 30-mile one-way on the freeway the entire time, trying to maintain, 70 to 74.5 miles per hour. Because apparently, if I stay with the pace of traffic, I am actually breaking the law, which doesn't seem to be making any sense. So anyway, just to throw out there, I'm still, I decided to fight my speeding ticket that I received on the 8th of February. Yeah, I got it a day after. I was on Pam on the 91, right passing the 710, pacing traffic, and I got caught as the last person in line pacing. So I ended up getting ticketed, and so I'm in the middle of trying to fight that and seeing if I can even just, have a chance at getting the thing wiped out. But we'll see what happens. I mean, granted, it's funny because you can go 15 miles over the speed limit and get dinged less in a speeding ticket than you would at a red light, which I think I find very funny, because I remember getting dinged at the red light, and that was because I was in the trail, the last car getting through the light, and then the camera went off. And I'm really hoping from that point when I got dinged back in 2015 that it's the whole red light camera thing is gone, because I often found those things illegal. I think they were deemed illegal, and one of the things that I really disliked about it was the fact that red light cameras were there was an actual business behind it. Because what would happen is, you'd have these cameras set up, and they would have these pictures taken of you. They flash at the red light, and every time you saw a flash, it's like, oh, that's another $500. But the biggest thing that really ticked me off about it was the entire structure that they had behind these red light cameras. So you basically here's the red light camera, so that's set up by an outside company, and the photo is taken by the outside company, and then the notice that you've been caught by the red light camera is sent to you by a company out of Arizona. Okay, so this is where it gets even worse. And then somehow, depending on which company is sending it out, they're going to be in cahoots with the local court in the jurisdiction of the camera that got you, and then they'll send you the official summons. But then it was really weird, because then there was this gray zone where if you received the notice from the red light camera company, but then you didn't receive the notice from the court, did the red light ticket actually count? And do you have to appear in court? And then that got weird. And then make it even more fun is, let's say, God forbid, that yes, it did go through and it's in the court system, and you got the official citation and everything like that, and you want to appear in court, and you decide that you want to fight the ticket. They actually have someone on call, so on the day of your trial, if you either appear or you do it by trial by declaration, which is the written appeal, that person will actually appear in court and refute everything that you've possibly said. So any sort of attempt to fight the red light ticket, the chances of you winning are pretty much slim to none, unless you can come up with some sort of cockamamie excuse that even makes any sense. This happened to me about 3 years ago, and I found out that they just dispatched someone to go in on behalf of the red light camera company to fight you. Like, isn't it legit? Like, it's like, here's the legal department. Are you kidding me? So this racket went on for a while. I'm not sure if the camera that dinged me back in 2015, it's the one off of Hindley and Rosecrans off the 405. So if you know the center where the there's an Arco, a McDonald's, and then the Blaze Pizza and the Jimmy John's are over there. Yeah. I don't know if that camera is even still active. I haven't seen it flash in a while, and I'm hoping it gets taken down. But I'll tell you, that was probably the most illegal, ridiculous shit I ever had to deal with in the last 3 years. Yeah, I don't understand, why those things even exist, because I'm sorry, when traffic is really, really bad and you're caught at an intersection, you really can't do anything about it. And if you're caught at the intersection and you do everything in your power to try to get out of it, aren't you doing the right thing? I mean, okay, we're not New York City. New York City has some anti-gridlock laws, and if you break anti-gridlock in the middle of Manhattan, you're probably looking at about 3 points on your license, which could, if you're a commercial chauffeur, a commercial driver, that could pretty much suspend your license. So yeah, I mean, we're in LA, but I'm not in the part of LA that, even if I were in the most busiest parts of LA, there's still no such thing as an anti-gridlock law that I know of that is that severe. But yeah, it's so bad in New York City that if you're caught in anti-gridlock law, you're looking at about 3 points off your on your driving record. That's no bueno. But at the minimum, like, the only thing that I'm hoping for is at least that I can take the traffic school. I mean, yeah, sure, I'd have to throw these guys my $239 or $238 or whatever, and that's fine and all. But at least let me, wipe the point off, which means I'm going to have to probably pay another $70 to be allowed to take traffic school. You understand how much of a racket this is. And then I'm just going to go online and take, the $5 online traffic school and be done with that in 20 minutes. Yeah. So fortunately, with the red light ticket, as dumb as it was, I was able to take traffic school. It was knocked off because at the time I was still driving Uber, and the last thing I need is a point on my driving record, especially driving Uber. Now, do I drive Uber? Oh, yes. Hi, Tracy. How you doing? But yes, that is an annoying intersection. Hindley and Rosecrans is a freaking annoying intersection. So, yeah, it's no bueno. But yeah, I'm hoping at least that I can take the traffic school and just get this knocked off my record. I mean, I think about the very few citations that I've actually received in my life, and I'm very fortunate that I can say that in terms of traffic citations, moving violations, and I mean, this is not counting parking tickets, but if you think of everything higher than a parking ticket, I can still count it on one hand, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, as for the Uber thing, it's not something I'm doing like immediately, right now. But I still have current Uber credentials, and just making sure that it's in my back pocket. It's one thing that I've learned about just life in LA and being someone that is able to do a lot of things, because there's a lot of people out there that are multi-talented, but it's just a matter of how do you spread yourself so that you can survive in a place like this. And side jobs are the way to go. It's just the only way to go about it. And even if you're not doing the side jobs actively, it's always a good idea to have them in your back pocket, because you never know when things get weird or stuff happens, and then you'll have to go, I may have to just switch over temporarily to this alternative form of income. Not a bad idea. It's always be prepared for stuff like this. And I'm saying this in response to, a couple of the reports and articles that I've been reading about with the teacher walkouts in Oklahoma and Kentucky. And I'm thinking in my head, holy cow, and I'm realizing, and I understand cost of living is lower in Kentucky and Oklahoma. I mean, shoot, I lived in Ohio for 5 years. You can buy a house for the price of a VCR, and that's understandable. But at the same time, though, standards, the cost of living is still not justifying the really ridiculously low salary that is really just hampering people in Oklahoma. I'm sorry, but if you have a master's degree and you're making $31,000 a year, I don't know. Doesn't matter what state you're in. It could be Mississippi, for God's sakes, but $31,000 a year. I mean, as an instructional assistant. Okay, I'm not even like, I have the word assistant in my job title. I am definitely making significantly more than $31,000 a year. That is ridiculous. That's a full-fledged teacher. And mind you that I am, one credential reinstatement away from becoming a full-fledged teacher again. I still see that. I mean, and minimum salary at LA Unified wasn't the greatest either, but it sure as hell wasn't $31,000 a year. I'm just like, wow. And it does break my heart when I think of teachers who spend, and I mean, granted, I was one myself. You got 40 hours a week dealing with the children, and then you got to do the grading, and then you got to do the lesson planning, and then you got to clean up your room, and then somehow have a life. And if you're one of those lucky people that has a family with kids, and I don't say lucky in a sarcastic manner here, you're just like, oh wow, so where do I have time to eat, sleep, and poop? No, this is an actual question. And it's unfair. And you wonder why, there are many of us teachers who are, finding it difficult to try to stay in shape, try to stay healthy and things like that. I'm on my gas station coffee right now, thank you very much. Heading to work right now, and it's just like, it's mind-boggling. It's like, aside from, I mean, the closest thing teachers are going to get to, hey, government, give us a pay raise, is, hey, can you now make the earth have more than 24 hours in a single day? That's about as ridiculous as it's gotten. So, yeah, do I have an issue, and do I support the teachers that are protesting this? Oh, absolutely. Shoot. I mean, I'm not complaining as badly because I am pretty close to a living wage. Yes, I do, have side jobs and stuff, but yes, I'm also in school. And that's a personal choice. But at the same time, though, we're in the United States of America. If you have that high of an education and you're below poverty line, you're having to go to food pantries to make ends meet. If you're having to apply for food stamps while you're an educator, we do have a problem. That is, I mean, granted that this has been ongoing for as long as I've been alive, and that teacher pay and nurse pay, and I'm going to put that in there too. Granted, I come from a family of, medical professionals, and I was the one who defected and became, an educator. Oops. I mean, I've defected for other reasons, but that's one of the professional things that I've done in my life. But, the things that keep the world running, the jobs that keep people alive and not like, dead, are the ones that are paid the least. That's a problem. I can rant about this all day. Granted that there are going to be people who will agree and disagree with me, and I understand that, but it is difficult. You try a day with this. I mean, I'm doing this as a non-teacher right now, and it's already an interesting day. Fortunately, I'm pursuing a master's with no family or kids, but man, I'll tell you, that's the pits right there. Sip my coffee here. But yeah, I don't understand how that even works. But I'm continuing to read these articles in my downtime. But the last thing I need to see is another teacher, and and I know there's a lot of comments going on here, and I'll answer them when I get to my desk. But just a lot of teachers where it's like, you shouldn't have to work a 40-hour job only to have to go back and work retail because ends don't meet. I mean, it's, yeah. Of course, I've considered too, online. I get my teaching credential renewed. Maybe I could do some online stuff or something like that. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah. I mean, I know some. Actually, now I'm just glancing really quick. The whole story of adjunct professors. So I'll just tell a story about someone. I'm actually no longer friends with this person anymore. But at one point, she had to borrow my car because it was getting really, really bad, and I still had Eleanor around, so I didn't mind. But there was a point when I was meeting her up for dinner, and it was just one of those kind of casual, hey, let's go eat some cheap ramen kind of things. And I knew that she was an adjunct professor at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And I'm thinking, okay, because I know her car was broken down. I was being a nice person. My car was working fine, so I loaned her my car for a little while. And so we meet for dinner. And I'm looking at the back of my car, and I had a Subaru Outback station wagon at the time. So, a lot of trunk space and things like that. And I'm looking I'm looking at the back of my car, and there are clear trash bags in the back of my car. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I'm looking, and those trash bags are filled with plastic bottles. I mean, like Gatorade bottles, water bottles, all sorts of bottles in there. It's all plastic. And I'm looking at that, I'm going, okay, this is interesting. We're on a recycle binge. All right. So then I asked her about it. I said, hey, what's going on with the bottles? And she goes, yeah, so, what I do after class, if my class falls on the same day as an LA Galaxy game, I'll go over to the StubHub Center parking lot. At the time it was Home Depot Center, but I go to the parking lot in front of the StubHub Center, and I go through and I take all the bottles from the trash. That has actually paid for the gas money to put in your car. And I'm looking at that and I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, this person also has a master's degree. This person is an adjunct professor, and there she is, and I'm imagining this, after the end of a Galaxy game, her having to sift through the trash and all the other shit that's in there to go fish out all the water bottles so that she can pay for the gas to stick in my car so that she can drive herself to work. What the actual is going on? Seriously? How is that even okay? It's kind of like that whole thing where it's like, here, we need teachers, but we're going to make it so difficult for you that you're not going to want to do it. I mean, I kind of touched on my personal plight with, being unable to have cleared BITSA when I was still a teacher at LA Unified back in, from 2006 to 2009, and that, I have a chance of this actually reversing, and I'm going to be able to finally clear this once and for all. So this is a giant, monkey off my back. But I tell that story about the plastic bottles in the car just to try to make a point here, because I have friends who are adjunct professors. I have friends who are brilliant. I have extremely smart friends. I'm very proud to say I have very smart friends who are in education and are trying to teach and make a living, but also do what they love to do. But how the hell are you making this difficult for everyone? I mean, seriously. It just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a lot of teachers who are, K-8, high school, everything else. Oh, and then make it even more fun is that you have to pay for your own supplies because you don't get a stipend. Really? If that was the case, then you know what? Everyone's just getting Post-it notes and contact paper, and then we're just going to call it a day because I'm not even bothered. But that is my rant as I'm going to talk about the teacher protests. I'm very curious what your opinions are on the whole thing, because I know that there are quite a few of you who are either working in schools or have children in schools, or often hear teachers doing this, or are teachers yourselves. Because I mean, even the pay scale. I mean, I will say this: in my current position right now, because I'm not a teacher, if I even I get my master's degree, I don't even know where the advancement is with that within the context of my current position. That's something that's going to require a talk. But at the same time, I am where I am right now, and I'm totally fine where I am, because it's still moving forward, even though I'm in a place that I can feel stable in. So it's okay. But dang, it just, the education field is just such a landmine. There was a point in time where I was like, I had someone saying, I really hope I want to become a teacher, and they're all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and they have hope and shit like that, and I'm going, you need to save some of that in a jar, and so that you can open it occasionally and take a sniff at it, because you're going to need that ounce of hope somewhere in reserve when you are all completely out of it. Believe me. Oy. I decided to go with a hazelnut dark roast coffee today, and it's really good. I'm learning quickly that if you go to the gas station and you get the Seattle's Best coffee and you bring your own cup, it's only $1. So I'm going to start doing that some more, because, man, I'll tell you, Starbucks adds up after a while. I love Starbucks, but damn, no. That whole thing about, the education system salary? Exactly. School district employee. Nah, it's a whole different story. Anyway. But, yeah, very curious to see what your opinions are about that. And I'll be making more comments throughout the day. This is one of those kind of chill Wednesdays. As I said, I could have taken the motorcycle today, but my Wednesday night decided to be free, and it's one of those days I just don't feel like riding. Well, because I gotta do it every day, and it's like a straight line every time. So, I'm definitely glancing here and seeing that there's quite a few comments there. I'll definitely have a nice response to those, Tracy, because man, I'll tell you, you start thinking about just how weird things have gotten, and I am glad to have made it past my original probationary period, and I still can't even believe it's been 6 months since I changed school sites, and that has been a huge thing for me. And it's just there's been a lot of just life-changing things happening, in my world, and all I can do is just remain focused and just keep thinking about my personal goals and just get there and do the thing. It requires a lot of focus and discipline, and occasionally a beer after coffee somewhere at night with video games and stuff like that. So yeah, there is that. So anyway, I'm getting closer to my destination at this point, so I'm going to sign off, but I hope you enjoyed the little coffee chat, like literal coffee chat while I sit here. And yeah. Oh, and before I forget, today is April 4th. May 4th is Star Wars Day, but April 4th, for those who own rats, is World Rat Day. So today is World Rat Day. Happy World Rat Day to all of those, to all you rodent owners out there. I gave my boys a few extra blueberries today and blackberries to have some fun, and while I was making their veggie salad today. So they're being chill and doing the thing. And so yes, happy World Rat Day before I forget. Anyway, approaching my destination here, so I will talk to you all later. Y'all be good, be kind, rewind, fight for higher teacher pay, fight for higher healthcare service provider pay, because yeah, this is nurses are important too. I grew up around them. They did the job too. So anyway, talk to y'all later. Be good.